My name is George Beasley, and local sculptor in the Atlanta area. Part-time in Scotland as well, and happy to be in the Cashin Sculpture Park with this piece. It's a particularly important piece to me because it's the only piece that I built in Scotland and actually shipped back to America. Usually the work I do over there stays there, and the work I do in this country stays here, for obvious reasons. Quite expensive. But that piece was really an account. If you notice on the surface of it, there are lots of markings, indications, and it's in a language called Ogham, which I use to describe a previous event. So the piece is really about something else that happened, which was a installation iron furnace built up on a hill in northeast Scotland out of rock and rubble. The piece itself, when it was finished, was exhibited in a national exhibition in Glasgow before being shipped back here to America. The rock that levers one side up in the air is actually from the original furnace in Scotland, so even that came across. All the iron pieces were cast on that site that night. The bronze was cast at the Scottish Sculpture Workshop, which is what takes me to Scotland all the time. I've been on their board of directors for a number of years, retired from that as well as retired from teaching. I'm retired from teaching from Georgia State University, where I taught for over 40 years, kind of setting up their program there in sculpture. It's very inner city. We've had an incredible run of students, several of which, or at least I know one of which, is going to be in the sculpture show. Tony Lodholt was one of my graduate students. Atlanta's been a kind of hotbed for sculpture throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's an ideal kind of climate, terrific support structure of small galleries. Doesn't have a really big national scene. It's kind of short on urban collections, but what you do see out there publicly, most came out of Georgia State University, proud to say. Some really strong sculptors. We have some pretty well-known sculptors living in this area, but the support structure in Atlanta is limited, I think, as it is through most of the South. But that's why we're so happy to see things like Cashin start up. We need more sculpture parks in the area. It seems natural to put sculpture in parkland. Probably the most familiar piece that I've done is in downtown Atlanta that we built for the Olympics. It's at the center of at 5 points downtown, where Peachtree, Marietta, Decatur Street all cross. It was the actual center of town at one time, and that is why we built the piece there, to kind of mark the beginnings of Atlanta during the Olympics. And it's all in bronze plate as well, on a big steel structure, and it is descriptive of the transportation systems of Atlanta. All the notations on the bronze surfaces are about the history of that crossroads. Well, yeah, it's particularly important for me to be in this new sculpture gardens, the Cashin Sculpture Gardens. I think it's going to be really important to the Atlanta area, and being invited into the inaugural exhibition is quite an honor. Expect that it's going to be a growing situation there. It's in a beautiful location. So looking forward to seeing the other works in the show, actually. I haven't seen any but my own.